for 15 long years. My own family treated me like a disgraced ghost who ruined our proud military legacy. Last Sunday, I stood outside the chain link fence at our annual family reunion after being denied a seat at the table. But everything stopped when 20 armored military vehicles rolled in and a 4-star general saluted me in front of everyone. My family built their entire identity around decades of decorated military service across several generations. My father made sure our home displayed portraits of every relative who ever wore the uniform with honor. After my military career ended in official disgrace during a secretive operation in Syria, my photograph was quietly removed from the hallway wall and replaced with generic art. They never asked me what actually happened in those dark, dusty streets 15 years ago. My brother Bradley took my place as the golden child while my father treated my very presence like an embarrassing mistake. At family dinners, I was placed at the far end of the room by the coat rack while everyone else toasted to honor and duty. The real truth was buried beneath thick stacks of classified government documents that nobody was permitted to read. During an operation near Aleppo, my unit uncovered 43 helpless children locked inside a hidden basement used as human shields. When High Command ordered me to hold position and abandon those children to avoid a political incident, I made the choice to disobey. We extracted every single child under heavy enemy fire without losing a single soldier under my command. Instead of receiving commendations, High Command sealed the official files and issued a formal reprimand against me for insubordination. I accepted the silent shame and signed non-disclosure agreements because proving my innocence would have endangered those rescued children and exposed corrupt political motives. Months ago, my cousin casually mentioned the upcoming legacy reunion that was being organized by my family. When I looked at the official event schedule online, my name was nowhere to be found among the listed speakers or honorees. A fine print disclaimer at the bottom specifically banned anyone who had received disciplinary action during their time in military service. I did not care about medals or public praise, but I refused to let my family completely erase my existence forever. I formally submitted a request to military officials for a temporary 45-minute window of partial file declassification. I bought a simple train ticket, wore plain civilian clothing, and traveled to the park where the grand ceremony was taking place without telling a single soul. When I arrived at the entrance, a young guard checked the official guest registry and politely turned me away. I quietly stepped back and took a place behind the metal fence at the edge of the public sidewalk. From that distant spot, I watched my father sitting in the front row while my brother delivered a grand speech about military integrity. Right as my brother was finishing his remarks, a heavy rumble shook the ground beneath our feet. 20 military Humvees turned the corner in perfect tight formation and surrounded the grass field in total silence. 200 uniformed soldiers stepped out as a black SUV pulled up directly in front of the gate where I stood alone in plain clothes. 4-star General Douglas Vance stepped out of the vehicle and walked straight past my father and my frozen brother. He stopped directly in front of me, looked into my eyes, and offered a sharp, formal military salute. He announced in a loud, clear voice that General Valerie Hayes was officially welcomed back with reinstated temporary honors, leaving the entire crowd utterly speechless. Before anyone could recover from the shock, a young man in a clean gray suit approached the stage microphone. His name was Dr. Tariq Nader, and he held a folded paper in his hands as he addressed the quiet crowd. He revealed that he was one of the 43 children saved from that basement in Syria 15 years ago by my brave actions. Dr. Nader read a heartfelt note written by his late sister thanking the brave commander who saved their lives against direct orders. She wrote that even though she never knew my face, she always remembered feeling safe in my arms. Tears welled in the eyes of the onlookers, while my brother turned pale and my father gripped his chair in stunned silence. Dr. Nader walked off the platform and came directly toward the fence where I stood in quiet contemplation. He extended his hand and thanked me for giving him the chance to grow up and become a physician who saves lives every day. As our hands met, the heavy burden of 15 years of silent isolation finally lifted from my shoulders once and for all. My father slowly rose from his seat, his jaw trembling as he locked eyes with me across the crowded lawn. For the first time in 15 years, I saw deep remorse and quiet recognition shining through. His strict, disciplined expression. He did not say a word, but he gave me a slow, respectful nod that acknowledged the truth he had denied for so long. The story spread quickly across the country, but I did not stay around to give interviews or seek fame. I returned to my quiet country farm, took off my coat, and placed my old military medals beneath my bed. The world could debate my choices all day, but I was finally at peace knowing that choosing human, life over strict protocol was the right decision. A few days later, an unmarked letter arrived in my mailbox with plain handwriting. On the front cover, it contained a simple message from my father asking if he could come visit my farm just to sit and listen. I sat on my wooden porch with 2 warm cups of coffee, leaving the empty chair open for him without any lingering anger or resentment. I realized that true honor is not carved into brass. Plaques are celebrated with loud speeches at formal events. It lives quietly in the lives that continue because you chose courage when everyone else demanded compliance with orders. Sitting under the quiet morning sky, I knew that standing by the truth was the greatest victory I could ever achieve in this life.